The cruel mirror and the code of phantoms. Do you hear those footsteps? Not the ones echoing through the sun-drenched streets of Sao Paulo, but the ones haunting the hallways of your own life. The echo of failures repeating themselves over and over again. Look at Maria. Lost among the skyscrapers of a city that never sleeps, Maria is a prisoner of a familiar pain. 3 romances. 3 different men. Yet they all shared the same brutal script. Betrayal. She screams at the heavens, "Why does fate keep throwing me into the arms of these scoundrels?" But what Maria doesn't realize is that she didn't meet the wrong person by accident. She is unwittingly emitting a mysterious frequency, a secret code that attracts the exact souls hardwired to hurt her most. Maria doesn't love these men. She is in love with the way they confirm her deepest, darkest fear, the fear of being abandoned. Maria's story isn't about bad luck. It's a phenomenon scientists call confirmation bias, pushed to its absolute limit. Think back to 1980 at Dartmouth College. Researchers conducted a study that shattered our understanding of perception. They painted grotesque, horrifying scars onto the faces of volunteers. But right before sending them out into the world, the makeup artists pretended to touch up the scars, while actually wiping them completely clean. The results were chilling. Every single participant returned in a rage. They swore they were discriminated against, that people looked at them with disgust. But the truth? Their faces were perfectly normal. The scar wasn't on their skin, it was in their minds. The world outside is nothing more than a mirror. When you look into it with a soul full of wounds, you will see every glance as a bullet. Your mind is a giant projector operating silently in the dark. If the film you're running is titled, "I Am Not Worthy of Love," the universe will not hesitate to hire the worst possible actors, the narcissists, the liars, to step onto the stage of your life. They aren't there by chance. They are there because you sent them an underground contract through your own decaying beliefs. You aren't seeing reality, you are seeing the reflection of your own soul. And until you change that internal film, those old phantoms will keep appearing, under new names in new clothes, to perform the same tragedy where you are the only victim. The power of the no, compassion cloaked in cruelty. Have you ever stood before a locked door, pounding until your knuckles bled, only to receive a haunting silence from fate? We usually call this failure. But in the shadows of shattered plans, a deeper, more resonant truth is at work. The compassion of no. Look at Ricardo. Sitting in a small cafe on a rainy street in Curitiba, head in his hands, staring at a rejected contract. Ricardo had poured every breath, every last reel and his family's honor into this deal. When the partners walked away, it felt as if the very skies of Brazil were collapsing onto his shoulders. He cursed the logos, he spat at the cosmic order he once trusted. He felt like a discarded pawn in a cruel, rigged game. But listen to the heartbeat of time. 6 months later, a seismic shift hits the financial world. That golden partner company crumbles in a massive cross-border fraud scandal. Cold, steel handcuffs snap shut on the wrists of every board member. Watching the news, Ricardo goes numb. A chill runs down his spine, not out of fear but from a bone-deep awakening. The no he once saw as a death sentence was in reality a silent, protective embrace. If that door had opened 6 months ago, Ricardo wouldn't be here today to tell his story. He would be sitting behind bars. In Stoic philosophy, we don't call this luck. We call it the frequency calibration of the logos. The universal intelligence doesn't bring you what you desire. It brings you what you need to protect your virtue and your destiny. Every time life says no to your effort, it isn't a setback. It is a masterful course correction by an anonymous architect. Stop trying to force a locked door with the poison of negative emotions. Instead, stand in the mysterious stillness of a Stoic and ask, what spiritual muscle is this closed door training? My patience? My humility? Or the discernment to see the black holes my ego blindly ignored? The universe operates with a precision that is brutal, yet undeniably merciful. The no of today is the yes for a stronger, safer version of you tomorrow. Don't fear the rejection. Fear walking into a room that fate has already warned you is about to collapse. Actors on the stage of fate, when enemies are saviors in disguise. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your life is a massive theater stage, where the spotlight shines on only one person, you. But who wrote the script? And more importantly, why do the worst possible characters keep showing up to ruin your performance? Look at the story of Lucas, a hard-working employee at a bustling financial firm in Rio de Janeiro. Lucas has a boss he calls a monster, an overbearing man who thrives on crushing spirits and cornering Lucas with impossible demands. Every night, Lucas returns home in a cloud of misery, cursing his superior's cruelty and wondering why fate has dealt him such a bad hand. But from the perspective of a Stoic expert, I want to reveal a heart-shaking secret to you. That boss didn't show up to destroy Lucas's career. He was hired by destiny to save his soul. The universe is a master director, and it has sent the most brutal coach to Lucas's stage. What? Because Lucas was too weak. Because Lucas never knew how to say no. Because Lucas was walking through life with a tattered map of self-esteem. That arrogant boss is the one forcing Lucas to build the muscle of his own character. He is the storm that forces the tree within Lucas to either drive its roots deeper into the earth or snap, to make way for something far more resilient. Epictetus, the great teacher who lived in the chains of slavery before becoming a philosopher, left a code for humanity. It is not events that disturb us, but our perspective on them. When you change your lens, the villains in your life will instantly drop their masks to reveal their true roles. The challenger, this is the one who blocks your path and catches every mistake. They appear to test whether your patience is made of diamond or merely clay. Without the fire, how would you ever know if you were true gold? The messenger. This character exists to slap you with the brutal truths you've spent a lifetime avoiding. They speak the bitter words about your laziness, your delusions, or your shortcomings. It hurts, but it's the bucket of ice water you need to wake up from the coma of your own ego. The sculptor. These are the ones who wound you most deeply. But remember, to create a masterpiece like the statue of David from a rough, jagged block of stone, Michelangelo had to use a hammer and chisel. Those who cause you pain are actually chipping away at the crust of your selfish and cowardly ego, revealing the radiant diamond within your spirit. The companion. They aren't saviors who will carry you on their shoulders. Their role is to stand beside you in the dark, silent, reminding you, you have legs. You must walk this path yourself. They refuse to help you so that you can discover the infinite power of Autarkia, self-reliance. You see, no one enters your life as a mere passerby. They are professional actors sent to push you into the most desperate situations, forcing you to evolve. The next time you face someone who makes your blood boil, stop for a second. Look deep into their eyes and ask yourself, what is this play trying to teach me? When you understand this code, the hatred vanishes. All that remains is a profound gratitude for those who played the villain, just so you could have the chance to finally become the hero of your own life. The behavioral science of attention, the gatekeeper and the map of souls. Did you know that right now, behind your very eyes, a brutal war for information is taking place? Every second, the world hurls millions of signals at you, yet you perceive only a tiny, microscopic fraction of them. What? Because within your brainstem sits a powerful and deeply biased gatekeeper, the reticular activating system, or RAS. Imagine Anna, a radiant woman standing in the middle of a vibrant party at Copacabana Beach. There are 100 men in that room. 99 of them are decent gentlemen, ready to cherish and love Anna sincerely. But there is only one who is an emotional vampire, a professional narcissist. What happens next? If, deep within her soul, Anna carries a bleeding belief that says, I am not worthy of good things, or love always comes with suffering, a dark miracle occurs. Anna's RS will immediately perform a ruthless scan. It will blur out, making invisible those 99 decent men as if they never existed. They become dull, unattractive, or simply go unnoticed. Conversely, it will make that one toxic individual appear brilliant, magnetic, and filled with a false vibration that Anna calls destiny. But that isn't destiny, it is the resonance of pain. Your brain does not go looking for happiness. It looks for familiarity to protect what it believes to be true. This is the moment where modern science bows to the wisdom of Emperor Marcus Aurelius from 2,000 years ago. He left us a sentence that decides every fate. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. You don't meet toxic people because you're unlucky. You meet them because the paint in your mind matches the shade of their cruelty. If your mind is a projector running a film about scarcity, the RAS will only allow scenes of scarcity to reach your retinas. This truth is as terrifying as it is hopeful. Terrifying because you realize that you are the architect of your own hell through toxic relationships. But hopeful because, if you can change the paint of your thoughts, if you train your beliefs to be solid and worthy, then the RAS, that loyal gatekeeper, will begin to open the door to a completely new reality. When your soul is dyed with the colors of self-respect and stoic fortitude, the mediocre will automatically vanish from your sight, making room for opportunities and people you once thought only existed in dreams. Stop trying to change the world. Change the gatekeeper in your own head. The Dance of Amor Fati, when pain becomes a masterpiece. Listen to the rhythmic beat of the samba drums echoing from the narrow alleys of Rio de Janeiro. Have you ever wondered what creates the undying spirit of alegria in the Brazilian people? It isn't just a superficial joy, it is a spiritual superpower forged in the harshest of hardships. I want to tell you about a moment at the carnival where the dazzling lights hide the sweat and the struggle. A world-class samba dancer in a magnificent costume suddenly trips and falls right in the center of the stage before millions of watchful eyes. In that heartbeat, a deathly silence falls over the crowd. But instead of collapsing in shame, instead of weeping over a cruel twist of fate, she performs a miracle. She uses the momentum of the fall itself, launching into a breathtaking acrobatic move, and continues the dance with a spirit even more fiery than before. The crowd erupts. That wasn't just technique, it was the living embodiment of Amor Fati, the love of fate. In Stoic philosophy, Amor Fati is not a weak, passive resignation. It is an intense, passionate infatuation with everything that life throws at you. Don't just stand there watching people enter your life like a victim of circumstance. I challenge you to do something harder. Love them. Love even the one who betrayed you, because it was their cruelty that became the fire in which you forged your true self-reliance. Without them, you would have remained a fragile child clinging to rose-colored illusions. Love even the pain tightening in your chest, because that very ache is the ultimate proof that you are alive, fighting, and evolving. The secret of the greats does not lie in a smooth life, but in the internal alchemy they possess to turn every event into fuel for greatness. When you begin to practice Amor Fati, you are no longer a puppet on the stage of destiny. You become the co-author, the one holding the pen, writing the most dramatic chapters of your story. You don't pray for the storm to stop. You learn to dance in the heart of the hurricane. Life doesn't send you what you want. It sends you what you need to shatter your old, brittle shell. The next time fate lands a painful blow, don't ask, "Why me?" Instead, smile, adjust your dancing shoes and say, "Welcome. I've been waiting for this moment to prove my stoic heart." That is the invicta spirit, unconquered and unshakable. Self-sufficiency, Autarkia, the undivided soul. In the shadows of solitude, humans often commit a fatal error. They go searching for someone else to complete them. Have you ever heard of the concept of Autarkia? It is the ancient sage's secret code for the absolute self-sufficiency of the soul. Don't let romantic movies deceive you. The reality for those who hunt for a better half to fill their inner void usually ends in a silent tragedy. Look at Matteo. Matteo wanders through the bustling streets of Rio, carrying a hollow heart and a burning hunger to be loved. He frequents the bars in Ipanema, his eyes always searching for a figure who can heal the loneliness gnawing at his spirit. But that very vibration of lack is a scent that lures emotional predators. Matteo doesn't find love, he attracts emotional vampires, those who smell weakness and are ready to drain his energy to feed their own selfishness. A relationship built on two emptinesses will only create a black hole of dependency. Matteo's turning point came on a late afternoon at Copacabana Beach. This time he wasn't looking for anyone. He stood alone before the vast ocean, feeling the salty sea breeze, and realized he was that ocean. Matteo began to learn how to be happy in his own stillness, how to become his own best companion. And that is when the miracle of Autarkia began to work. When he no longer needed someone to rescue him, he suddenly met a woman who was also standing firm on her own 2 feet, a free soul, whole and undivided. They didn't come together to fill each other, they came together to shine. The master Seneca once said, "Fire tests gold, adversity tests brave men." This teaching isn't just for external battles. It's for the war to keep your identity safe from the temptation of dependency. You must understand this brutal but liberating truth. You are not half an apple waiting to be pared. You are a complete entity, a perfect micro-universe from the moment you were born. When you enter a relationship with the mindset of a beggar, you are handing the key to your happiness over to a stranger. It is an act of emotional suicide. But when you approach another from a place of virtue and self-respect, that relationship is no longer a chain. It becomes a safe harbor in a stormy sea. Train yourself to be enough before you pray for someone else to appear. Because in the end, only self-sufficient souls can create an unconquerable love. Be a fortress, not an abandoned house waiting for a tenant. The Alchemist shift, when the world bows to the inner self. Have you ever tried to wipe a smudge off a screen while a projector is running? The more you scrub, the messier the screen gets, but the image remains exactly the same. That is the greatest mistake we make, trying to change the people around us to ease our own suffering. You want your partner to stop controlling you? You want your boss to be less harsh. You want your friends to stop being so negative. But the more you push, the worse they become. What? Because you are scrubbing the screen when the smudge is actually on the film inside the projector. Listen to the story of Gabriel, a young architect in an office drowning in complaints and envy in Belo Horizonte. For years, Gabriel exhausted himself trying to advise, argue, and hope that his lazy colleagues would change. The result? He was burnt out, they stayed the same, and eventually they isolated him. Until one day, Gabriel decided to perform an alchemist shift. He stopped looking outward. He began the iron discipline of a Stoic, waking at 5 a.m., practicing gratitude in silence, and working with an absolute focus as if no one else was in the room. And then a dark and powerful miracle began to unfold. As Gabriel shifted his internal frequency from resentment to fierce self-mastery, the old actors in his life began to feel uncomfortable. His discipline became a mirror reflecting their own cowardice. Naturally, the negative people began to avoid him. They felt an invisible push and eventually left his life altogether. In their place, new opportunities and partners with a higher frequency, those who valued his professionalism and aura, began to appear as if they had been waiting there all along. This isn't hollow positive thinking or empty prayers. This is the Stoic law of reorganization. In Stoicism, the external world is a living entity, and it is forced to reorganize itself to match your internal order. When you forge a diamond mind, the universe cannot keep you in the mud forever. It will redirect the flow of energy to place you exactly where that diamond belongs. Stop wasting your fire trying to fix anyone. Focus all your firepower on changing the script inside you. When you become an alchemist, turning the heavy lead of your thoughts into the pure gold of virtue, the entire world will be forced to rearrange itself around you. The mismatched actors will be automatically written out of your play because they no longer have lines that fit your new magnificent version. You are the director, the screenwriter, and the master of the frequency in this entire theater. Remember, the world only changes when you stop trying to change it. The art of letting go, the code of completion. When the stage lights fade and the theater falls silent, what do? Do you sit in the dark, weeping and begging for the actors who have already left to come back? Or do you stand up, take a bow, and walk out of the theater with your head held high? Most of us choose the first path. We cling to the ruins of a story that has already ended, trying to resuscitate an emotional ghost that fate has already ordered to die. Look at Isabella in the city of Brasilia. After 10 years together, the husband who was her entire world walked away on a cloudless morning, leaving a vast emptiness in the house and a bleeding hole in her heart. Isabella repeated a single word like a death sentence. I lost everything. I lost him. That word, lost, is a stone that drags her to the bottom of an ocean of despair. But in that darkest hour, the philosopher Epictetus, a man who turned the agony of slavery into eternal freedom, sent her a code for liberation. Never say, I have lost it. Say instead, I have returned it. This isn't a shallow play on words. It is a revolution in internal perception. Epictetus teaches us that nothing in this world truly belongs to you, not property, not fame, and certainly not another human being. Everything and everyone that enters your life is a loan from the universe. When a lover leaves, don't say you lost them. Understand that you are fulfilling the highest duty of a free soul, returning them to the world. When the career you craved vanishes, say, I have returned it to fate. This detachment is not the cold indifference of the heartless. It is the deepest compassion of a Stoic master. You understand that this actor has perfectly completed their role in your script. They taught you how to love, how to endure, or how to realize just how powerful you are when abandoned. When the lesson ends, the spiritual contract between you and them expires. Clinging to someone who has finished their mission is like trying to hold on to a breath you've already taken. It only makes you suffocate. The end of a cycle does not diminish the value of what came before. On the contrary, it is a sign that you have graduated to a new spiritual level. A more brilliant chapter is being written in the shadows of the logos, but you will never see it if your eyes are still fixed on the wings of the stage where the old actor just disappeared. Let go with the mysterious smile of a seer. Return what was never yours so that your hands are empty and ready to receive the new gifts fate is preparing to offer. Real freedom begins when you realize you have never lost anything. You are simply, continuously returning in order to become whole. Conclusion: the inner citadel and the final triumph. In the stillness of this moment, as the phantoms of the past retreat behind the theater curtain, I want you to look back at the scars on your soul, not with resentment but with the solemn nod of a victor. Emperor Marcus Aurelius left a piercing reminder for all of us. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Do not let betrayal turn you into a betrayer. Do not let cruelty strip away your compassion. That is the ultimate triumph of a Stoic. Begin building your inner citadel, your Citadel interior, this very day. Construct a sacred fortress that no insult, no abandonment, and no twist of fate can ever breach. In that sanctuary you may stand alone, but you are never lonely, for you are whole. Now, perform one final ritual. Look directly into the faces of those who once brought you to your knees and quietly say, "Thank you. Thank you for hurting me so that I could learn that the limits of my endurance were nothing but an illusion. Thank you for leaving me so that I could realize that Copacabana Beach remains brilliant and full of freedom, even when I walk its sands alone. Nothing was an accident. Everyone who crossed your path, be they angel or demon, was a brick used to build the bridge leading from the person you once were to the magnificent version of yourself waiting on the other side. Every encounter is a code from the Logos. Love your fate, Amor Fati. Walk forward with the burning light of reason, because now you finally understand, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. Every power to recreate your reality is held firmly in your own hands. Step forward, Invictus warrior.